Good morning, everyone. First of all, I wish you a happy and blissful day. Today, I will throw light on a beautiful poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, composed by George Leslie Norris, taken from your First Flight book, Poetry section, chapter number 3. I do hope you won't have any confusion in comprehending the poem well after watching this full video. So, let us get started. But students, before we start, I want to put some words on note about the contribution of the poet in the world of literature. See, George Leslie Norris was a famous Welsh poet and a short story writer. He was born in 1921 in Wales. He had decided even at an early age that he would become a successful poet in future. He was very much enthusiastic in the poems of Dylan, Thomas and Vernon Watkins. His first poem was published in the year 1938, but his first book of poetry came out in the year 1943. In July 1942, he married Catherine, better known as Kitty. Thereafter, they moved to England and trained themselves to be the teachers. He started getting fame with his first publication, Finding Gold. His works won various awards, including the Cholmondeley Poetry Prize and the Catherine Mansfield Memorial Award. Ultimately, that great personality left the world in the year 2006. But the whole world will remain grateful for his contribution in the world of literature. He won various prizes, but his famous works are Finding Gold, The Loud Winter, Phoenix Living, Poet Series, Ransoms, etc. Now, I would like to present the central idea of the poem. This poem throws the light on the worst condition of wild animals when they are kept abandoned in a zoo, where they live their life in a different mood, in a different way. That proves to be a hindrance and obstacle for any animal living his own habitat. The different movements of tiger in the zoo and in its natural habitat are expressed impressively by the poet. This poem clearly highlights the contrast of a tiger imprisoned in the zoo with the tiger in its own natural habitat. So this was a small gist of this poem. I hope you have understood, or the overview is quite clear to you. Now I will read the poem thoroughly and passage wise or paragraph wise I will explain it to you. So moving towards, we have our first paragraph. See, he stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. There are some words which may be troublesome for you, so I have tried to quote them here. Stalks, it means walk slowly. Vivid, clear. Strips, the lines or spots. Pads, feet. Velvet, soft. And rage is anger. What is written here in this passage, in this paragraph? Here the tiger in the zoo walks in the limited space provided to it in the cage. It takes a few steps. There are spots on its body which are quite prominent, very much noticeable. Its soft paws are like velvet. No noise is produced when it walks on its pads of velvet. The tiger is silent, but it is in complete anger. So, though the tiger is portrayed as stalking about, it is only within the confines of a cage, where his stalking is mingled with his quiet rage. How beautifully he has decorated the poem. He has used some figures of speech to embellish the poem and enriched with all perspective of a good composition and poetry. All the corners are touched here due to the ornamentation in the form of literary devices he has done in the poem. See which figures of speeches are used here. The first one, rhyming scheme, that is ABCB. Students, probably you know what is rhyming scheme. It is the sound, actually the pronunciation of word that look alike. If they are looking alike, they have the same letter sound, and if they are pronounced differently, then they have different scheme, different rhythm. See, strips A, cage and rage is same, so I have made them categorized into B. But quite is again a different sounding word, so it is C. So what would be the rhyming scheme of this poem? That is ABCB. Next, we can see personification here. Personification. What is personification? Here that, when something is given human attribution and it turns to be alive like a human being, it is known as personification. Here the tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he. Generally he is used for human being, but here I have used he for the tiger. So who performs like a human being. Same emotion is restored over there. Next word is metaphor. Metaphor is indirect comparison. Here the tiger's paws are compared with velvets. Soft velvets, pads of velvet is used here. So it is metaphor. Next figure of speech is enjambment. What is enjambment? Enjambment means when the sentence is continuing to next line without any punctuation mark, that is enjambment. See the first sentence, what is written in the passage? He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage. See these two lines. This seems to be the single line or sentence, but it is split into two lines, and in between there is no any punctuation mark. So this is the case of enjambment. Next, our figure of speech is imagery, where the poet tries to create an image about the tiger. What imagination is restored here? He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage. Here, through this word, he has created imagery. He has emphasized to restore the imagination into the mind of human being, into the mind and conscience of us, the readers. Consonance. Consonance is use of consonant sound in the middle of or at the end of any particular word. Like stalks, S, his, S, last S, and strips, again S, S, S. At the end you can see S sound, this consonant sound is repeated. So this is the case of consonance. Next case, assonance. What is assonance? Assonance means use of vowel sound, again like consonants, whereas consonant sound is repeated, but in assonance the vowel sound is repeated. See this example, in his vivid strips, his I sound, vivid again I sound, and strips again I. This vowel sound is repeated thrice. Okay, so this is the case of assonance. Next figure of speech that we have is oxymoron. What is oxymoron? In a humorous way, when the poet wants to give two different adjectives or opposite words in the form of a compounding word or collocation, it is known as oxymoron. See, it is written quiet rage. If the tiger is quiet, so how it becomes angry? Two different words. I will work day and night. So if day is different and night is different, two different words is different, right? They show the contrasting idea in the form of different opposite adjectives. But still, in a humorous way, they emphasize on a particular theme, on a particular time, on a particular situation. This is a case of oxymoron. I suggest you everyone that if you have any difficulty in understanding the figure of speech, I have separately made one video in which you can understand everything, all the core ideas behind the figures of speech. I will provide a link just under the thumbnail or in the description box. You will just go through it and try to understand it well. Okay, now coming towards our next second paragraph, what is written? He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Lurking means hiding, hiding. Sliding is moving. Next word is water hole. It means a river where animals come to drink. And plump deer, it means young, fatty, fleshy deer. Okay, so what is the explanation actually? What does the poet want to reveal or convey here? Looking at the imprisoned tiger, the poet is filled with pity. He says that the poor tiger should have been in the jungle, hunting and resting. There at this point of the night, he would have been lying in the shadows of trees and sliding quietly through the long grass. There near the water hole, he would be waiting for some fat plump deer to pass that way. Thus, he would be lying there in expectation of a heavy feast. Here, the poet imagines what the tiger would be doing in case he failed to find any prey in his natural habitat. See again, this is the case of imagination. The present scenario is that the tiger is kept or imprisoned in a cage. But it is the expectation and it is the emotion of the poet that clarifies it. He is, embellishing, he is enforcing us to think about the situation. In a Bengali quotation I have read that Bonnera bone sundor shishura matri krore. What does this mean? It means the babies look beautiful in the lap of their mothers, and the wild animals and their small kids, they are beautiful when they are in jungle. If they evacuate themselves to the other place, to the other habitat, they surely do not look beautiful. This is the beauty of Leslie Norris literature. Now again, here we have some literary devices like rhyming scheme, ABCB, enjambment, that is the case, alliteration, use of sound P, and imagery again, the tiger's activities, lurking in shadow, this is an imagery. Okay, I hope you have understood. Now moving towards our next paragraph. See, he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. What does it mean? The poet proceeds further, giving another suggestion that the tiger should be sitting at the jungle's edge in close vicinity of a village. It should be terrorizing the people passing that way by showing its sharp teeth, baring its claws and producing low sound of anger. What does the poet want to convey here? The poet wants to say the way human being has devastated the life of a jungle, the habitat of the wild animals, in the same way, some other day they will come to us. They will leave their place and they will, just break into our own habitat. That is why they are warning us, showing their baring claws and sharp teeth. And they snarl, they create, they roar actually. They terrorize the human being. This is a life-changing lesson. We should be sympathetic towards animals. But no, human greed cannot be fulfilled ever. This is the, worst situation of our society. We are constantly torturing. we are constantly exploiting our resources, losing the beauty of nature due to our own deeds. We are responsible. We are accountable for everything what is being done with this world. That is the beauty of this poem. What are the literary devices? Rhyming scheme is there, that will remain same, ABCB. Enjambment, okay, from he should be snarling to jungle's edge. You can see there is no any punctuation mark, and this line continues to the next line. So it is the case of enjambment. Onomatopoeia, this is a new figure of speech. Probably you know, when you think of a sound of anything like crinkle, bark, cry, yell, shout, these are the sounds. So when any sound is imitated, it is the case of onomatopoeia. So here, using words which denote sound like snarling, the poet has used onomatopoeia. Our next figure of speech is assonance. You know it well. Repetition of vowel sound. You can see O and I. Should around houses, O sound is repeated. And bearing his white, this I vowel sound is repeated. So this is the case of assonance. Next we have consonance. Use of consonant sound S, like his, fangs, his, claws. This S sound is repeated. But remember one thing, if the sounds repeat in the front, in the first alphabet or letter of any particular word, okay, then it becomes alliteration. Clear? But if that sound is repeated by staying in the middle or at the end of any word, 2 or 3 different repetitive letters, then it will be the case of alliteration. Okay? Now, the next paragraph. But he's locked in a concrete cell. Concrete means cemented. His strength behind bars. Cell. Cell. Concrete cell. Concrete is cemented, and cell, that is cage. Stalking the length of his cage. Again I'm repeating. Concrete is cemented. Cell is cage. Behind bars means locked. And stalking is walking. So, what is the situation? Very slowly and silently, he moves up and down along the length of the cage. He takes no notice of the visitors who come to the zoo to look and entertain themselves. Okay? This nature, students, the nature of the tiger, his behavior is expressed in such a way that it is very clear that human being has no transaction or has nothing to do with the, wild animal or animal kingdom. In the same way, they have nothing to do in the, they are not interested in the human being. That is why when the human being, they come over there, they want to entertain themselves, but they take no notice. They pay no heed to them. They are busy in their own stuff or course. Okay? What are the literary devices? Again, you can have the same case. Rhyming scheme, ABCB, personification, I have already described he. Assonance, the vowel sound of E, like locked, he, concrete and cell. And consonance, use of consonant sound again, his, strength and bars. Alliteration, see the B sound at the start of 2 words, like behind and like bars. So B is situated in the front of that. So it is the case of alliteration. Okay. Now, the last paragraph. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Patrolling cars, probably the police cars that patrol here and there, inspecting of something else, any antisocial activities and all. Stares means looks very anger or angrily. Brilliant, bright, very sparkle, glorious. So the meaning is here, the tiger knows no rest during the day because of the visitors. Even at night he remains disturbed due to the noise of the patrolling cars. He keeps staring at the brilliant stars with his brilliant eyes. Perhaps he is challenging the brilliant stars, or else he has hope for future. So though he is tortured, atrocities of the human being is shown here, but still probably he is challenging, or he is being hopeful for the future. But some other day we will be free from this habitat. We will go to our own houses, and that will be our source of happiness forever. That is why their eyes become very spark, their eyes become very glowy, and they become hopeful for future. So students, what we have learned through this poem, that is very important. Once again, I am describing the summary before you. So here it is written, no, though the tiger is portrayed as is talking about, it is only within the confines of a cage. Where he is moving is mingled with quiet anger. Instead of lurking in the shadows of the jungle, in search of some plump deer, the tiger is confined animal, actually imprisoned animal. Instead of spreading terror among the villagers living in homes adjoining the jungle, the tiger of the poem is locked in a concrete cell where he ignores the visitors. Instead of hearing the call of the jungle animals, he hears the sounds of the patrolling cars. His brilliant eyes focus on stars visible through his cage instead of staring at a potential prey in the forest. Dear students, this is the end of our chapter, and I'm sure you have understood it very well. But still, if you find any doubts, you will just let me know through the comment section by commenting. Thank you so much. Bye bye.